Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. And Linda is so good, she also got in a reference to the Mitzvah Garden with this as well. We are so delighted to have you in person or online. We welcome our new president, Patty Berkowitz, and our officers and trustees. We're honored that our partner on this beautiful campus, Federation Director Gary Jones and Federation President Pauline Zimmerman, are with us this Shabbat. We now welcome the Sabbath as distinctly Jewish time for prayer, renewal, learning, and engagement. It's become our practice here prior to candlelighting to have worshipers turn to those around them or behind them or in front of them, especially people who you have not already met, and introduce yourself and be sure to add Shabbat Shalom. So some folks may not be familiar with others, so please, Shabbat Shalom. This is good. This really is a nice custom which we have now. We are going to be inviting forward our incoming second vice president, Alexis Zimmerman, together with her mom, Pauline, to lead us tonight in candlelighting. Candlelighting will be found on page 120, page 120.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light. Sovereign of the universe, who follows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the lights of Shabbat.
Amen.
Please join with me.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner Amen. We now turn to page 138. We continue welcoming Shabbat with Lecha Dodi on pages 138 and 139. We'll be singing the first, the second, and then the 9th verse of Lecha Dodi. Lecha Dodi likrat kalash, B'nei Shabbat nikabelash. Lecha Dodi likrat kalash, B'nei Shabbat. B'nei Shabbat nikabelash, Lecha Dodi likrat kalash, B'nei Shabbat nikabelash, Lecha Dodi likrat kalash, B'nei Shabbat nikabelash.
Shalom v'zachor
Dibur echad, Yishme'anu el hamichad, Adonai echad, Shemo echad, L'shem tiferet v'litiyah. Lecha Dodi likrat kalash, B'nei Shabbat nikabelash, Lecha Dodi likrat kalash, B'nei Shabbat nikabelash. ניסוחה, סוף מעשה, במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי לקראת חלה, פני שבת לקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת לקבלה. בואי ושלום עטרת בלה, גם בשמחה וטובה, טוב ומונח סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת לקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת לקבלה. The Chatzi Kaddish will be found on page 144. Page 144.
Yitgadal Shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Be'almati vrachute v'amlik machute. B'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael. Bagala, bagala, uv'izman kari. B'imevru. Amen. Yehei Shemei Rabbah Mevorach, Lehalam u'mehomaya, Yitbarach, Yitbarach, V'yishtabach, V'yipa'ar, V'yiromam, V'yitnaseh, V'yithadar, V'yithaleh, V'yithalal, Shemei Dekudisha B'richu, Lela min kol berchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiram be'alma v'imeru. Amen.
Page 146. For those who are able, we invite you to rise for the Baruch Hu.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
I read at the bottom of page 148, Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening. Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Haravim. And praise to Adonai, page 150, and praise to Adonai, who loves your people Israel in love.
Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Page 152.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Abad.
Please be seated. The Ve'ahavta, page 154.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibartam bam v'shivtecha b'beitecha uv'lechtecha b'derech ושוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Emet. Page 157. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there's no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. Mi Chamocha, page 158.
Ya la 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 ya la
Praised are you, Adonai, for redeeming Israel. I read at the bottom of page 160, Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people, Israel, and over Jerusalem. On page 162, Yismechu, the second paragraph down, our prayer for Shabbat.
Yismechu b'malachutecha, Shomrei, 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 Shabbat, V'korei Hodei Shabbat. Yismechu b'malachutecha, Shomrei, 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 Shabbat, V'korei Hodei Shabbat.
Shomrei, 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 Shabbat,
V'korei Hodei Shabbat. V'yashbir Ratzita v'kidashta Shabbat. Hendat Yami Oto Karata Shabbat v'koreh honeh Shabbat.
Yismechu v'malachotecha. Shomrei, shomrei, shomrei Shabbat.
V'koreh honeh Shabbat. Zecher
L'maseh, l'maseh,
Bereshit
Shabbat.
Zecher
L'maseh, l'maseh,
Bereshit Shabbat.
Shomrei, shomrei, shomrei Shabbat. V'koreh honeh Shabbat. Shomrei, shomrei, shomrei Shabbat.
V'koreh honeh Shabbat.
We continue page 164 with the tefillah. We invite those who are able to rise. We'll be chanting the prayers beginning on page 164, continuing to page 170.
Adonai sifatatita ufia ki tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu Imoteinu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor V'Hanara, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei HaKol, V'Zocher Hasderot V'Imahot, U'Mevi Ula Lifnei V'Neihem, L'man Shemo Be'ahava. Melech Ozer Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magid Avraham V'Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayech HaKol atah Rav Yehoshia, Mechakeh Chaim B'Chesed, Mechayeh HaKol B'Rachamim Rabim, Tomech Noflim V'Rofeh Cholim, U'Matir Asurim, U'Mekayem Emunato L'Shenei Afar, Michamocha Bal Givurot, U'Migdal Melach, Melech Memni Tu'Mechayeh, U'Masmiach Yeshua, V'Nehemana Taleh HaChayot HaKol, Baruch atah Adonai, Michayeh HaKol.
You are holy, your name is holy, and those who are holy praise you every day. Blessed are you, Adonai, the holy God.
Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh.
Please be seated. Elijah the prophet is a well-known figure in Judaism. We leave a cup for him each Passover. There's a seat of honor in his name at every bris or baby naming. As Shabbat ends, our liturgy has us sing of his potential return, Eliyahu Hanavi. This week's Haftarah describes the critical moment in Elijah's life and in the life of our people. The only prophet to have escaped alive from the clutches of King Ahab and Queen Jezebel, Elijah makes his way to the summit of Mount Sinai to regroup and seek instruction. Summoned by God to stand on the mountain, we read, "There was a great and mighty wind, splitting mountains and shattering rocks by the power of the Eternal. But God was not in the wind. After the wind, an earthquake. But God was not in the earthquake. After the earthquake, fire. But God was not in the fire. And after the fire, kol damama daka, a still small voice, or alternate translation, a soft murmuring sound." There's a lot of symbolism to unpack here, and I won't unpack it all. God was not in the storm and fury, for God's presence transcends tumultuous events. But in their wake, Elijah perceives a murmuring silence and hears the voice of God challenging him to return to his tasks. Generations of Jews have been inspired by this ancient scene as a divine voice stirs Elijah, who sees himself as the end of the line, the last one. It stirs him to keep on going. Ironically, and in fact tellingly, rather than witnessing the end of our people, Elijah's presence is avowed at newborn ceremonies in Judaism's most enduring rituals, a testament to our people's continued life. The news from Israel this week reminds us that we can remain, there can be periods of tumult, threats from terrorism, somehow often softened in news coverage to the acts of militants, and internal challenges too, as divisive proposed judicial reforms in Israel, championed by extremists, split the nation. Of course, in every life, we inevitably go through time of tumult and periods of quiet. May we find ourselves able to recognize inside each of us a kol damama daka, a still small voice of holiness, conscience, and integrity, beseeching us to carry forward the insights and guidance of our tradition. We sing Shalom Rav for abundant peace and ongoing continuity. Page 178.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Ocha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Ocha Tasim Leolam. Ki otahu echadon lekol hashalom. Ki otahu echadon lekol hashalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Ocha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Ocha Tasim Leolam. Betov ve'enecha levarech et Amecha Yisrael. Bechol עת ובחושך בשלומך. Shalom Rav Yisrael Ocha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Ocha Tasim Leolam. Tasim לעולם.
Silent Prayer, page 180.
Oh, say shalom, shalom, Vivrama. Ooh, yeah, say shalom, aleinu. Be'akol Yisrael, ve'imnu amen. Ooh, yeah, say shalom, aleinu ve'akol Yisrael, amen. Oh, say shalom, shalom, b'ramav. Ooh, yeah, say shalom aleinu. Ve'akol Yisrael, ve'imnu amen. Ve'akol Yisrael, amen.
I now direct us to the services, the prayers for the installation of our officers and trustees, which will immediately precede our Torah service this evening. This is a house of assembly, house of study, house of prayer. Here we seek to illumine an inclusive understanding of Torah within and beyond our congregation, and to transmit its lessons to future generations. Our leaders are Clay Kodesh, holy vessels, guiding and inspiring this work. I ask B'nai Israel officers and then our trustees to come forward on our bima as your name is called. And our president, Patty Berkowitz, first vice president, Sherry Kipperman, second vice president, Alexis Zimmerman, Eric Linetz, our secretary, could not be with us this evening. Paul Medina, our treasurer, is here. And our trustees, Catherine Albee could not be here. Marcy Durnell is. Doug Fuchs is. I think Melissa Fleischer is probably online. Dawn Tendler is with us in person, as is Peggy Klein, as is Alan Schwartz. Lisa Siegel is not here, and I do not see Yuri Schwartz. Our immediate past president, Stephen Rips. We invite you forward. As part of your Brit Avodah, covenant of service, this Brit worked out by our past boards, you are bound to manage the sacred by bringing vision, wisdom, and dedication to your duties. Your obligations include working closely with clergy and staff, financial oversight, being responsive to members and listening to their needs, strengthening the congregation's role in the local community and its relationship with Israel and Reform Judaism, being open to prayer and study, advocating for the synagogue, respecting confidentiality, maintaining the synagogue as a dignified, warm, welcoming, and safe home, and remembering and reminding others that the goal of our congregation is unity, not uniformity. I ask you to read, in reverence and gratitude to past leadership, on whose shoulders we stand, we accept the honor and the many responsibilities of leadership, for help and guidance and eternal love to the learning of our faith and the people of our congregation. Before God and dear ones, we pledge to work with clergy, staff, and our congregation and family in advancing our synagogue's mission. And I'm going to open the Ark. Moses, please rise, thank you. Moses received the Torah at Mount Sinai. He transmitted it to Joshua. Joshua in turn passed it to the elders to the prophets. The prophets transmitted the Torah to the sages of the great assembly. The sages taught three things: to be deliberate in judgment, raise up many disciples, and protect the integrity of the Torah. Now, right before the Torah will be passed to Patty, I first pass it to her predecessor, to Stephen. And Stephen, let me, like so. How's that? Perfect?
Thank you. Patty, we've been working together for 9 years now, and I've come to respect your leadership, your counsel, and your friendship. And I know I speak for everyone when you're going to be an exemplary president. I've been thinking all week of what really to say is to come up with some kind of profound statement on this occasion. But what I can only say is what Lisa said to me 2 years ago: you got this. Mazel tov.
Mazel tov.
And as you also have the Torah,
personally, and on behalf of all who have been elected to serve this congregation with me, I welcome the Torah into my arms and embrace its mission and teachings.
And we read, as with the Jewish generations before us,
having been called upon for sacred service, we respond with the words of Torah. Here I am. Where there is pain, may we bring healing.
Where there is isolation, may we bring community. Where there is concern, may we bring hope. Where there is uncertainty, may we bring vision. Where there is discord, may we bring harmony. Where there is joy, may we bring presence. Where there is prayer, may we bring holiness. Let the effort for Tikkun Olam, repair of the world, begin with us. Officers and trustees, you are now officially installed. May your tenure of leadership be for blessing. We sing Judaism's prayer of gratitude, the Shehechianu.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kiyavanu v'higianu la'asam hazeh.
And as we prepare for our parading with the Torah, first you'll find this on page 364. We sing Ki Mitzion.
Ki Mitzion tetzeh Torah. Ki Mitzion tetzeh Torah. U'devar Adonai miYerushalayim.
Page 366.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Shemo, Gadu Adonai Hiti, Umeroma Shemo Yatav, Lecha Adonai Hagidula, Bihagibura, Bihatiferet, Bihanetzach, Bihaho, Kiko Bashamayim Uvaretz, Kiko Bashamayim Uvaretz, Lecha Adonai Hamalacha, Bi'avida Hasem Lechol Erosh, Nebeinu Shalom Alechem, Nebeinu Shalom Alechem, Nebeinu Shalom Alechem, Nebeinu Shalom, Shalom, Shalom Alechem, Nebeinu Shalom Alechem, Nebeinu Shalom Alechem, Nebeinu Shalom Alechem, Nebeinu Shalom, Shalom, Shalom Alechem. Horibo Shalom Aleinu, Horibo Shalom Aleinu, Horibo Shalom Aleinu, Be'ahulam. Horibo Shalom Aleinu, Horibo Shalom Aleinu, Horibo Shalom Aleinu, Be'ahulam. Salam Aleinu, Be'achol Haolam. Salam, salam, salam Aleinu, Be'achol Haolam. Salam, salam.
Please be seated. 5 women, the daughters of a man named Slothchod, Machla, Noah, Hogla, Milcah, Tirzah. They protest for the right to inherit property. They take their case to Moses, and their reasoning is accepted. In fact, it is called just and sacred and correct by God. As the Midrash advises, happy is the one whose words are confirmed by the Holy One of Blessing, by HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Had these women been docile, had they taken the path of least resistance, had they not stood up for themselves, had they not exposed themselves to controversy, then there would have been no change and less justice. Instead, they demanded that the system become more fair and equal. At biblical times, unmarried women were the least powerful members of the community. Undaunted, their proposal becomes God's Torah. There's a lesson here, or honoring the profession of our new president, there's a teachable moment here. We mustn't be passive about the future. In the year to come, we will need to stand up for community and faith. We will need to share our rationale for involvement and commitment. And like Machla, Noah, Hogla, Milcah, and Tirzah, there may be times when we'll have to defy certain norms to effectively make our case. Yet in affirming the sacred importance of the synagogue, may we feel confident in the wisdom of our sages. Happy is the one whose words are confirmed by the Holy One of Blessing, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Now, we are about to invite forward for tonight's Aliyah to the Torah, our president, Patty Berkowitz, accompanied by our first gentleman, Mark. Those who will be following, it's Numbers 27, verse 1. In the Torah commentaries, it's page 1203. But first, a word from our president.
Thank you. First, I have to tell you, carrying that Torah was the most amazing experience I've had. So that's not part of my speech. That's just my heart speaking. I am truly honored and humbled to be standing before you now as your new president. This is a responsibility that I do not take lightly, and will work tirelessly to ensure our legacy is secure. I feel incredibly blessed to be surrounded by an absolutely amazing group of people who have graciously agreed to serve on the board. The executive committee, composed of Sherry Kipperman, first vice president, Alexis Zimmerman, second vice president, Eric Lynette's secretary, and Paul Medina, treasurer, are an outstanding group of passionate and dedicated individuals committed to effective leadership. Additionally, Catherine Albee, Marcy Durnell, Doug Fuchs, Melissa Fleischer, Dawn Tendler, Peggy Klein, Alan Schwartz, Lisa Siegel, and Yuri Schwartz bring to the board decades of history and experience. I am so appreciative of their commitment to safeguarding our sacred traditions. Securing the future of B'nai Israel is the top priority facing the board. Over the course of the next 2 years, we will work with staff to solidify our future through attempting to address concerns regarding membership and proactively working to address our financial future. I have no doubt that the collective expertise of this dynamic group will work to obtain each goal. Finally, I would like to take a moment to thank Stephen Reps for his dedication and commitment to the B'nai Israel community and for his generous donation for the Oneg this evening. He truly left big shoes to fill. Thank you.
Mark? First word is right here.
Baruch hu et Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bahar banu mikol ha'amin. V'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen. If you hold right here. Amen. B'tikrava benot Slavchad, and the daughters of Slavchad ben Hefer ben Gilad ben Machir, son of Hefer, son of Gilad, son of Machir ben Menashe, son of Menashe, Lemishpachot Menashe, of the ancestral family of Menashe, ben Yosef, and of ultimately of the Joseph tribes, the Ele Shemot, and these are their names, Benotav, of these daughters. Mochla, Noah, Behogla, Umilka, Ultirza. Ta'amodna lifnei Moshe, and they went before Moses, v'lifnei Elazar HaKohen, and before Eleazar the priest, v'lifnei Hanesiim, and before the chieftains, the princes of the tribes, v'chol ha'edah, and all of the community. Petach Ohel Moed, before the entrance of the tent of meeting, Lemor. Avinu met bamidbar, v'hu lo haya b'toch ha'edah hanoadim al Adonai b'adat Korach. That our father died. He was not involved in the Korach uprising, but died for a different reason. Uvanim lo hayu, and he did not have any sons. Lo. V'lama yigara Shem Avinu mitoch mishpachto. And why will his name be erased among his families? Ki ein lo ben, that he did not have a son. Tnu lanu achuza, give us an ancestral portion. B'toch ache avihem, amongst the brothers of his father. V'yakrev Moshe et mishpatan lifnei Adonai. And Moses brought this petition for judgment before God. Vayom Adonai el Moshe, and God said to Moses, Lemor, Kain benot Slavchad dovrot. The daughters of Slavchad have spoken correctly. Naton titon lahem achuzat nachala betoch ache avihem. And you should give them a portion amongst their kinsmen. V'havarta et nachala avihen lahem. And transmit their father's ancestral portion to them. Ve'el b'nei Yisrael tidaber, and you should say to the children of Israel, Lamor, Ish ki yamut, when a man dies, uven ein lo, if he does not have as an heir a son, vartem et nachlato levito, then in that case, his estate is transferred to his daughter. Ve'im ein lo bat, and if he doesn't have a daughter, natatem et nachlato le'achav. If he doesn't have a daughter, it goes to his brothers. Ve'ein lo achim, if he has no brothers, natem et nachlato le'ache avihem. In that case, it goes to the next of his family, and this continues on. V'im ein achim la'aviv naten et nachlato lisharo hakarev elav mishpachto v'yarash ota v'yata libnei Yisrael l'chukat mishpat ka'asher tziva Adonai et Moshe. And this is to be a law for all time, as God has commanded Moses.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam natan b'tohenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Beautiful. Dr. Dan, we're going to ask you to raise our Torah. Paul, we're going to invite you forward to dress the Torah. We ask that if those who are able to rise as well as the Torah will be raised. Vizota Torah will be found on the bottom of page 370.
Vizota Torah asher sam Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael al pi Adonai v'yad Moshe. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la.
HIP is found on the bottom of page 374. Page 374.
It's Chaim Lemach Hazikim Ba V'Tov Nakecha Merusha D'Racheya D'Racheya V'Kol Netivotecha Shalom Hashivenu Adonai Elecha V'nashu Kadesh Kadesh Yamenu Kadesh Yamenu Kedem.
Please be seated. As we offer the blessing for healing this Shabbat, we are mindful of Nurit Hockhauser, Steve Gordon, Lucy Nunez, Phil Feynman, Ronnie Fornabayao, Eileen Bisnow. There are others for whom we pray privately. For those in our sanctuary, please share aloud the names of people for whom we likewise publicly pray this Shabbat.
Susan Waters. Carolyn Javins, Charles Cummings,
Brody Filburn and Sheila Baum.
For those on Zoom, we ask you to unmute and say aloud the names of those for whom we also pray this Shabbat.
Norma Hecker, Michelle Klein.
And Gil Abramson and Joel Rogovan.
For all, may the Holy One send healing and shelter in protection. Our prayer, Misha Berach, page 371. Misha Berach, Avoteinu, Mekor HaBracha, Leimotenu, may the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishe Berach Imotenu, Mikor HaBracha Leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. May Chayil El Chayil is the Jewish hope that we may travel from strength to strength. And it has been our good fortune at B'nai Israel. Tonight is no exception, but in fact, a demonstration of our ongoing mazel, our good fortune, and much effort. With our new board we celebrate energy, skill, caring, commitment, strength. Patty Berkowitz, our new president, whom we've just heard from, has already hit the ground running. Let me tell you, yesterday's engaging meeting with our new educator clocked in well over 3 hours plus, to be followed by time which she spent writing and then contributing to an upcoming press release. Today was the ritual committee, some other sessions, planning upcoming board events, including a gathering on Sunday, and then to the bank for authorizing check signing. We know Patty to be reasoned, responsible, and goal-oriented. Patty's Hebrew name, Matana, translates as gift, and truly she is a gift to us. Sherry Kipperman, our first vice president, is a hard worker and a strong and effective advocate who appreciates the importance of membership development and membership retention, explaining the significance of the synagogue, and who also appreciates how we actualize our values by being present for others. A long-term member and executive committee member who's been a leader here for many years. Sherry likewise possesses a strong institutional memory that helps us in our planning. Second Vice President Alexis Zimmerman is new to our executive committee, but in no way new to our congregation. Alexis grew up here. Fun fact, her bat mitzvah Devar Torah, still on my computer, spoke about lessons related to the Garden of Eden. Since joining our board, Alexis quickly made her own mark, enhancing our social media, developing the Wisdom Wednesday columns, and dedicating herself to making the gala such a success. It exemplifies her extraordinary commitment that Alexis postponed leaving on vacation in order to be here tonight for this milestone. Eric Linetz, who returns as our secretary, at times jokingly refers to his own curmudgeonly ways. Truthfully, we've never seen any obstinacy. In fact, Eric's very likable. He has an incredible feel for detail and is able to raise questions from a vantage that others might not see. Indeed, seeing the synagogue with the eyes of an active religious school parent and an Intro to Judaism student are valuable lenses. Paul Medina, our new treasurer, has a history of not only stepping up when asked, but of taking initiative, as during the past year, he not only joined the Tech Corps, but he created our Zoom room. A frequent attendee and thoughtful contributor to our adult education and part of our social justice work, Paul is one of the first 2 recipients of the Joel Abramson Commitment Award. Tellingly, not only our officers, but our trustees are profoundly devoted to the synagogue and our Jewish people. We're delighted to have returning as trustees Catherine Albee, who has also served as our LLC president. It's a huge job and responsibility, and she's done so with grace and dedication. Marcy Durnell is the other recipient of the Joel Abramson Commitment Award. She's articulate, skilled, and has a sense of the big picture. Melissa Fleischer was responsible for this year's amazing Pride Shabbat speaker, Ben Green, and for helping to organize and explain our listings. Rejoining our board with his can-do spirit, Alan Schwartz has taken the lead in shepherding into production new membership materials. As for our new trustees, Doug Fuchs, Peggy Klein, Yuri Schwartz, Lisa Siegel, and Dawn Tender. And in keeping with the familiar song, one of these things is not like the other, long-standing congregants may recognize how but one of these leaders is not like the others. Doug, Peggy, Lisa, and Dawn are all past presidents. They have been extremely impactful, each one dedicating innumerable hours on our collective behalf, responsible for many initiatives and successes, both under their administrations and through others too. Time and again, they've distinguished themselves. On the other hand, while new to our board, Yuri assuredly also is no stranger. He takes his wife Allison's trustee seat and in his own right has been a strong Zionist. The last person I spent time with days before the COVID lockdown was Yuri as we sat together at AIPAC. Mechael El Chayil, from strength to strength. Our past president, Stephen Rips, also remains on our board. In what was his first official day as a past president, I espied Stephen's car last Shabbat as I drove into the parking lot for Torah study.
He was there with Deb working on the tree of life. I wondered and I said, Stephen, this is how you spend your first day off? Shouldn't you be getting ready for the James Taylor concert you and Deb are to attend tonight? Stephen replied, well, we couldn't sleep and thought we'd make some progress on the tree of life. Earlier, Deb and Hannah were making progress, even further progress, on the tree of life. Later, Patty and I learned, as she mentioned, Stephen and his family were sponsoring tonight's special One. This commitment and strength and purpose of character this commitment and strength of purpose and character is that, pure and simple. And I trust it's clear that we have a good team with which to meet the real challenges ahead. Dawn Tendler and her late husband, Bob, Zichrono Livracha, may he be remembered for blessing, are responsible for the gold lettering, which is engraving, here we have engraved on our reader's table, the Hebrew that Linda will momentarily sing, in a melody that she created. Now, the Hebrew, V'simu et shmi al b'nei Yisrael v'ani avarchem, translates, and they will link my name with B'nai Israel, and I will bless them. Appreciating our many leaders who link themselves to B'nai Israel and our pursuit of the sacred. May we avow now, under the new administration of Matanah, the gifts and blessings that sustain and enrich Jewish life here. Ken Yehi Ratzon, be this God's will.
All right. Minor technical difficulties. I hope this all works out. V'samu et shemi al b'nei Yisrael. 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 V'ani avarchem, v'ani avarchem, v'ani avarchem, avarchem, v'ani avarchem. V'samu et shemi al b'nei Yisrael. V'samu et shemi al b'nei Yisrael, al b'nei Yisrael.
Thank you. Our service continues as we begin our concluding prayers with the Aleinu. The Aleinu is found on page 586. We invite those who are able to rise. Sherry and Sam, we invite you forward to open our ark. The Aleinu that we'll be chanting is the second paragraph down on the page.
Aleinu l'shabea klaton hakol lated gedula leotzer breshit shelo asanu kuge havrasot velo samanu kemishbechot hadama shelo sama chelkenu kahem vegov aleinu Kekol hamonam vanachnu korim umishtabim umodim lifnei melech malchei hamalachim hakadosh baruch hu.
Please be seated. Vinet Amar, page 591.
V'ne'emar
Haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz
Bayom ha'u yeh Adonai echad U'shemo echad.
Page 598. At this moment in our service, we now call to mind our own beloved dead. We pray on their behalf. We voice the confidence that they are remembered for blessing. I ask that those in mourning or remembering the anniversary of the death of a loved one to please rise if you are able when their name is mentioned, whether you are in the sanctuary or joining us on Zoom. During Shloshim, we remember Keith Albee, brother of Catherine. We remember the yard sites, the anniversaries of the deaths of Mortimer Atlas, Sophie Bamberger, Doris Stranch, William B. Greenberg, Henry Johnson, Regina Kipperman, Harriet Sanditz Myers, Anna Nidek, Barry Nidek, William Shore, and William P. Wertheimer. We ask our worshipers in our sanctuary, should you have a dear one to add, to please rise and say their name. And we ask our online worshipers on Zoom to unmute and say the name of their loved one. For those in our sanctuary, should you wish, we invite you to offer a short remembrance of a dear one on our Kaddish list. Please raise your hand for the microphone.
My mom, Doris Grant, was an amazing woman.
Now that's off. Yeah.
Testing, 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 testing.
My mom, Doris Grant, was an amazing woman. I'm proud she was my mom. She was born July 14th, it was Bastille Day. She passed on July 4th, 4 years ago. Her life was all about independence and being able to be there for the people she loved. She got married at 16. She lived with my father till the day he passed, about 4 or 5 years before her. She rose through the ranks. She never went to college. She rose through the ranks of New York City's largest privately owned bus company, starting as a bookkeeper and ending as the vice president. She was truly amazing and loved by absolutely everyone that knew her. She had 7 loving grandchildren. Her first 4 grandsons would tease and laugh with her and say they knew they were her favorite. And she was so diplomatic and said, "You are all one of the best," never, ever giving in. Until probably the day she passed, she had dementia, and she would always say the exact same thing: "You're all one of the best," making everyone feel so special. She was truly special, and she was loved by many and missed by so many. We love her dearly, but truthfully, I think Ross was her favorite son. I had 2 other brothers. My mom was awesome, and I wish you got to know her. Her biggest pride would be here tonight, seeing all of you installed as officers.
Thank you. We also remember Shilo Yosef Amir, an Israeli soldier killed on Thursday on the West Bank. Remember the Ukrainian victims of Russia's invasion. Each Shabbat, we also mention 6 names amongst the 6 million murdered in the Holocaust of the Shoah. This week, we remember Polina Portnoy, age 3, Mira Burstein, age 2, Chana Burstein, age 5, Chana Pukler, age 8, Natan Pukler, age 11, Rivka Pukler, age 11. In remembrance, in solidarity, and on behalf of those for whom there is no one but us to say Kaddish, we now invite all to rise, if you are able. Our Kaddish prayer, page 598. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, B'alma divrach chiruteh v'amlich malchuteh, b'chaye echon uvyom echon uv'chaye d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mavarach leolam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei d'kudasha b'rechu. La'ela min kol berchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, damiran bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemayim, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Zichronam levarcha. May their memories be for blessing, and let us say, Amen. Please be seated. Patty?
Thank you so much for joining us tonight for Shabbat, whether you're here in person or online. A very special thank you to Rabbi for the beautiful service this evening, to Linda for the beautiful music, to our tech core group in the back, Stephen and Alexis, thank you so much. Mazel tov to our incoming board, truly looking forward to working with you. Again, thank you to past president Stephen Reps and his family for tonight's special Make Your Own Sunday Bar Oneg. Any good news to share?
The Shabbat before last was our grandson Jonah's bar mitzvah.
Mazel tov.
Our daughter Stephanie just completed her first school week in a new job. She is the associate director of development at the education.
Mazel tov. Absolutely.
For Stephanie, it's the second stint. It's the second time coming back to the ADL. Really, it's great for the league. It's great for the Jewish community.
Yes. Any birthdays or anniversaries? Oh, sorry, one.
Had a semi-milestone birthday yesterday. It's kind of a semi-milestone. Let them guess what that means. I'm
He's still guessing too.
Any other birthdays or anniversaries? No, okay. Tomorrow, there will be Torah study at 10:30 in the morning in the Zoom room. Sunday is Rabbi's intro class, 9:30 a.m. in the library. Next Friday night, July 14th, very exciting, cast members from Newberry Theater's upcoming production of Fiddler on the Roof will be here to join Rabbi and Linda in worship. It should be a wonderful evening of prayer, song, and learning. This is not a great transition, but do mark your calendars. Tisha B'Av, the saddest day on the Jewish calendar, is approaching. Rabbi Eric will lead a session on Thursday, July 27th at 10:30 in the morning. Shabbat Shalom.
Very fitting closing hymn, and the melody here is also Linda's, and it is on page 644. You'll see it in the middle of the page. The translation, Im ein ani li mili, if I am not for myself, who will be for me? If I am only for myself, what am I? And if not now, when? Page 644.
And this one, it's a very simple folk melody. I made it as simple as I could. It's a Hebrew line, and then the line is translated, and it really goes back and forth between the Hebrew and the English translation. So,
If I am not for myself, then who will be for me? And if only for myself, what am I? And if not now, when?
that was your chance to learn it. Now we're going to sing it.
If I am not for myself, then who will be for me? And if only for myself, what am I? And if not now, when? And if not now, when? Kiddush will be found on page 123. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzavanu, b'shabbat kodsho, be'ahava uvratzon, Inchilanu, zikaron lemahaseh bereshit. Hihu yom tehilah lemikraye kodesh, zecher letziat Mitzrayim. Kivanu v'charta, V'yotanu kidashta mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha, be'ahava uvratzon, hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen.
L'chaim.
Different this week? Baruch
Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Amen. May God's presence be with you and give you peace. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.